guess the only thing left, I feel like, wow, this is it, is talk about my Tikal story, because really, I know Tegan asked, and if it wasn't for me going to Tikal and having my near-death experience, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be attuned to, you have to have your heart as light as a feather to get through, right? You have to be fractal. I had way too many, let's call it, how do I say that? I needed a defrag. I had way too many frayed connections, okay? Okay, so I'm going to talk. I have to sit down. I have to sit like cross-legged here because that's how I roll. I'm not going to be writing anything. And I didn't even like prepare. I didn't even read this. So I'm like, I hope I'm accurate. I'm accurate from my memory right now. That's all I can promise you, okay? So Paul and I, 2012, so we met 2011. So this is going on, we're together, almost 2 years. And we had some money come from the government. Funny, the government always seems to give me some kind of a refund every time I'm supposed to do something spiritual. It's very bizarre. When I'm supposed to go learn mystical numerology, money came from the government and I had just enough to go. Something happened here. They audited us and they gave us some extra money, and we had thousands of dollars to go with. So we were like, okay. Could have even had enough to go to Egypt, but I didn't. Kind of bought into the Mayans, 2012. Hello, December 21st, 2012. Who doesn't want to go be there, right there? So we booked to go to these 7 fire ceremonies for 7 days, a week before 2012. And then we're going to celebrate it there. And I think they're talking about spending the night where the big towers are in Tikal. So I was into that, but, Paul knows I don't like spiders. So, we're playing it by ear anyways. Anyway, so we got there, and both of us, when we left, Alex was not feeling well. She had a little bit of a cold. I really felt like I shouldn't go. Something inside was like, don't go. I think my guides told me a month before when I was planning to go, like, better to stay home for 2012, but I didn't listen. Because really, like, who doesn't want to go? We already booked. So we're packing to go, and Alex is sick, and then we leave, and she's really sick. And by the time we're on the bus, the Airbus going to the States to go to get the plane, Paul is sick. He's getting a cold, and I'm not feeling like, we're both feeling under the weather. And I even forgot, I have to backtrack. Okay, so when we're packing to go, Paul's packing in one area, I'm packing in another area, and I go into the room, and he has this big, like, machete thing. He has this big, long knife, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, my guides tell me to bring it. And I'm like, you're crazy. They're going to, like, take it away. They're going to, like, they're not going to, like, that's not good. That's not going to be good over the border, right? He's like, I don't know. They told me to take it. So I was like, you're crazy, whatever, right? There was some weird things that he was told to bring that didn't make sense to me. So anyways, we go, and we're going across the border to the States because we have to catch our plane in Detroit. And, of course, they ask about his knife. When they check at the border, they open it up because there's everybody on this Robert Q bus. And ours is special. We have sage, and we have my essential oils, right? I had a whole thing of essential oils. So, they're questioning everything. And then they ask Paul about his big knife, right? And I'm like, oh, great. We're going to be stuck here forever. We're going to miss our plane. That's what I was thinking, right? All negative Nancy. And no, he explained, well, I'm going to a jungle. Like, we're going to a jungle in Tikal. Like, I'm bringing it for protection. And I let him go. They said, okay, well, and they asked the Robert Q, and they said, okay, as long as you're going straight into the airport, you can take it. I was shocked, okay, because you're not supposed to bring anything bigger than like this in, right? So anyways, no hassle really, and we get across. Really weird that they let him, I thought, but okay, obviously it's supposed to happen. And it took us 3 flights to get there. The second flight, and it was long, right? 3 transfers. Second flight, I think, was from Florida, and it was delayed. That's where we had to transfer. It was delayed. And I was so exhausted because we weren't feeling well, remember? Because of Alex. She had a cold, and yeah, so I was like sleeping on the floor. That's how Okalani just got sick, sleeping on a floor in a doctor's office. I was sleeping on the floor, face down. I was so tired, face down in the carpet. What did I breathe in, right? So by the time we actually got to Guatemala City, I was pretty sick. Pretty sick. And I was, Paul's carrying all the bags because I'm like, can't breathe. And so we get a hotel for the night in Guatemala City, and then as we're walking up and I see him carrying all the bags and stuff, and I'm like looking, there's this man with this like wheelbarrow full of overflowing oranges, and I'm like, oh my God, I need an orange. Oh my God, right? But then he's carrying, and he's across the street. I don't have any money on me, right? I have nothing. So I was just like, I just followed him, and my heart like broke. I felt it. Felt my heart light up when I saw those oranges. I needed them so bad, right? But no, that didn't happen. And yeah, we're pretty sick. We just slept the whole time. We went out for a little bit. There was something going on down the street. We went out for a little bit. We just slept for about, I think good till the next day, till the next afternoon. We got there in the, early evening till the next evening. And then we went to Tikal. We got another flight, went to Tikal. Not feeling very good. Okay, but it was weird because I was more sick in Guatemala, and as we flipped over to Tikal, Paul got more sick, and then it flipped again. It was like so weird. We're like making each other sick or something. So anyway, so we got to Tikal, took another plane, got to Tikal, not feeling the greatest. And Paul felt really sick once we got there, and he just went to bed. And I went, and I was like, no, I'm going to go and meet all the people because we were there a couple days early so we could explore, right, before the 7 fire ceremony started. And I hope I'm telling this right. So I got to know some of the ladies, that were in the group, and, they were all going to Tikal, to the towers, to Tower 1, Tower 2 the next morning. But they had to go at like 3:30 a.m. And I'm like, it was already dark. And I was like, okay, we really want to go. I really want to do this. So we went. We got up, and I wasn't feeling that well, right? And I remembered thinking, I need some rosehip tea. I need some vitamin C. Because I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling better in Paul because he was sleeping. So I went back to our room, tried to bring him some food. He wasn't really interested. He just slept. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go back out with some of the ladies. They're preparing for classes. We're going to have some like Mayan astrology classes in a couple days. And some of the ladies were helping. So I said, I'm going to go with them. And he said, okay, no problem, right? And when we went, and I still smoked cigarettes then, and someone was talking about they had some marijuana, they had some cannabis, whatever. It was junk. It was junk, not gonna lie. But I had cigarettes, and I had one thing, right? I had a little bit of a cold, so I wasn't really smoking much. But I was down there, and I had a cigarette with the ladies, and all of a sudden I looked down, and this huge tarantula, bigger than my head, I think, crossed my path, just not towards me. I was like frozen stiff. Neither of them saw it. Just me. Lucky me. And it crossed my path, and I said, okay, I have to go. I have to make sure Paul's okay. I was a little while, I want to make sure he's doing well. And I went back to and we got like, they had bungalow type things, and we got the top notch, like the princess room, because I don't like bugs so much. So, we just got the good room that had an air conditioner, and that air conditioner probably like took my life almost. But anyways, went back to the room and thought to myself, because it was pretty late, it was like 11:30, and I wasn't feeling well. We had to be up like in 4 hours. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep and, whatever. We got up, we went to the towers, and I feel like I'm mixing a day up a little bit. Anyways, we got up, we went to the towers. Okay, this was the only day I made it into Tikal. And when we got there, there was all these different shamans that were trying to do ceremony. You're afraid of spiders too. You know what the funny thing is, Pam? I always wanted, when I was in grade 9, I wanted a tarantula. I wanted a boa constrictor. It's so weird. An iguana and a tarantula. Like very specific. Those 3 things I wanted in my house, and never got them. But there's obviously something that I wanted to tap into, reptilian. I don't know. So I always wanted one, but I am terrified of spiders. But I always wanted a tarantula specifically. Obviously, like there's some medicine. But anyway, so we went to Tower 1, Tower 2, and there's all these shamans, and they're in groups kind of. And, there's a lot of different towers, but we were just focused on these 2. No tour guides or anything that day. We were just kind of exploring. And then all of a sudden, when I walked up to Tower 1 and Tower 2, like it was a long hike and it was hot, I just saw it, and I like fell down on my knees, and I just like hugged the ground with my chest, and I started bawling. I didn't know why. Paul was way up ahead. He looks back like, where are you? Because I'm like flat on the ground, bawling. Don't know why. I'm just so overwhelmed with emotion, right? So I'm sitting there, and, he comes back for me. He gives me a few moments. He's like, what's going on? I said, I have no idea, but like, I can't even control what's coming up in me. Power animal retrieval ceremony. Snake is a power. Very cool. So anyways, I had the moment, and then all of a sudden, right behind me, when I look back, are all like a whole tribe, almost like it feels like, of shamans and just natives, right? Native Mayans. So they started setting up for ceremony right in between these two towers. They came in right behind me and told all of us tourists, like, stay back, you can watch, stay back. And they did a ceremony. I didn't know this, but that specific day, I feel like it was December 13th, because that's the day I quit smoking. That was the last day I had a cigarette, that day earlier. So December 13th. Yeah, I would say so. Or maybe it was 11th. No, sorry, it was December 11th. It was December 11th, 12th, 13th. Yeah, or 12th. I don't know, guys. It's on my story. I don't actually remember. Maybe it was the 12th, because I'm trying to think. It was 12/21/12, right? 12/21/12. So I think it was 12/12/12. That makes sense. So all the shamans were doing the ceremony in different areas in Tikal. Okay, so, but the one between Tower 1, Tower 2, they started doing it, and really they were actually kind of, I don't want to say vying or competing, but some of these shamans trained for their whole entire lives for 2012. Okay, I have chills. They trained their whole entire life for 2012, and for this ceremony that these ones were doing right here. Now the thing is, what were they training for? They were training to give the power back to the feminine. Okay. It was way too much for me to handle. I was not prepared, but this is what they did. So the thing is, they trained their whole lives. Why were all these shamans in different places? Because the one that didn't get rained out was supposed to be the one who was honored. All right. The one that didn't get rained out was ours. Okay. As soon as it was done, as soon as the ceremony was done, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, so coming full circle, they're doing the ceremony, they're dancing, they're doing all these things, really amazing. We're just kind of laying, basking in the sun, and then all of a sudden, they asked all the women, and we didn't know at the time what they were doing. They asked all the women if we would like to come and dance. And I'm not a participator that way. I'm an observer, okay? I don't participate like that unless I'm really into something. So, but you know, Paul and Rose, a lady that I met there, was like, oh, come, let's go. So I went and I did it, and I danced in a little circle, something I never do, because it's just, you know, I'm more of an observer. But I did, and we danced in a circle, and then all of a sudden, torrential rains came down and put the fire out. All right, put the fire out. But their ceremony was finished, and theirs was the only one that actually got finished. Nobody else's did. So theirs was the prophecy. They were the ones. I have chills everywhere. Okay, they were the ones that the prophecy was about, and we happened to be there to witness it and to be a part of it. Okay, so it was rained out. If you look at my website, I can put up the link. I have the story there. Then we just they had these shelters and tents and or whatever, these, I don't know, wooden shelters. So we just kind of stood under there because it was torrential, like mudslides everywhere, right? We stood under there for a couple hours. Before that, we were exploring a little bit as they're setting up. There was the princess quarters in Tikal in different areas. The princess quarters really called to me. I don't know why, but it did. So anyways, once it was done, we just went back. We got our little bus guy, and we went back to the hotel. And this is a night story that I think the spider went by, to be honest. Yeah, this was the night the spider went by. And this is where Paul and he was still pretty sick, and I was pretty good. And this is where, when the spider came by me, is when all of a sudden I went back to the room thinking, oh, I'll have a cigarette tomorrow. I'm just going to go to bed. And I went to bed, and I could never have a cigarette again because I was so sick. So the next morning was the true, fire ceremonies were supposed to start. The training for the astrology, and then the 7 fire ceremonies, and I never got out of bed after that. It's amazing, Brooke, that it was, and I didn't know it at the time till, after talking to some of the people there. So anyways, went back, and we're, helping them prepare a little bit, some little, yoga mat things that they're giving out so everybody could sit on the ground and learn, and different things. That's when the spider came by. I went back to the room, thought, okay, I should have a smoke. I should go out on the balcony and have a smoke before bed. And I was like, no, I'll wait till tomorrow. And then there's a voice. I got chills. There's a voice inside me that was like, what if you don't have tomorrow? And I went, that's okay. And I just went to bed. And in the middle of the night, I was like sweating. I was so hot. And they had that air conditioner and I turned it up to max. And I fell asleep. And I was so cold when I woke up, shivering and full of sweat. I was so cold that I couldn't even like talk to Paul. I couldn't like get the controller to turn it off. I couldn't. I just prayed that I could just warm myself up. And so by the morning, I was so sick. And Paul was feeling better, but I was so sick. And I swear it had to do with that tarantula. I didn't have tarantula medicine. So I didn't go with him. He went and he learned a little bit about the astrology. It wasn't his thing to really be interested in. It was more for me that. But all good. And he came back halfway through the day, see how I was doing. I was worse. And then he, you know, brought me food and, you know, took care of me, whatever. And I said, no, I think I'm just going to stay in bed and I'll gain strength for tomorrow so I can go to the fire ceremonies. 7 fire ceremonies. How fun is that with authentic Mayans, right? Like right in the middle of the shift. Yeah, so the next morning came and Paul wakes up and we had to be up about 5:30, right, to get on the bus and to get there. No way I was going. I was so sick. There was no way I was going. So I told him, you know what, just today, go without me. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, go without me. I think you should go. Yeah. And then he didn't get back till it was dark and I didn't have, and there's no translator. The translator went, nobody there speaking. I'm in the middle of the jungle, right? There's cleaning ladies coming in that only speak Spanish. I don't know speak Spanish, right? I know nothing. So yeah, it was a long day and there's no food. Right? No food. And like, it's a big long walk down. My lungs weren't doing so well. And you know, at this time I still smoked cigarettes. So I still had pneumonia every year that came up around this time in December and bronchitis and all that stuff. So risky for me to go away at that time. So by the time Paul got back, I was like starving and I was really, really sick. Like, I don't think I'm going to any of these ceremonies, Paul. Something really bad is happening here. And he, I think, just wanted to see the good and didn't want to believe that. But he was, you know, starting to see I was going downhill. And so he stayed back with me the next day. So this is his second fire ceremony. He only went to the first one the whole time. I went to none. I went to the first ceremony I was never supposed to be there for, actually, right? That gave all the feminine power back. He went to the next one, and we never went to any of the other fire ceremonies, right? I was just sick. He was either outside on the balcony by the water, like staying close to me. So anyways, he ended up finding out, like, I'm like, I need a doctor. Can you please go? This feels like such a long story. I need a doctor. Can you please get me a doctor? Okay, so I guess the lady that organized our trip, her husband's a doctor, but he's like 4 hours away, 4 to 5 hours away. And the only way to get there is like on the back of this caravan thing. And I'm like, because I've been coughing so much already, I'm like, I forgot to mention, I fasted for like 7 days. So I'm really, really like pretty frail. Okay, that's why those oranges when I first got there look so good, right? I was guided to fast, right? So you think, okay, why? But obviously, so I can get through this rebirth and get through as many patterns as I can. Okay, where was I? About smoking? No, I lost my spot. I'll get it back. I'm sure I will. Okay, so anyways, we didn't go to the fire ceremonies. Okay, so I told him I needed a doctor. That's where we're at. And I was thinking about being like on the back of a caravan with like people and animals and stuff and bouncing. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't make it there. He's like, otherwise you have to go on a plane. And I had an ear infection at that time too. So I knew I couldn't go up in a plane. Okay. So my lungs, ears, everything. So I was like, I can't go this way because the bouncing it will hurt me too much. It hurt me to like even by that point, like my lungs were not in good shape. So he said, okay, well, he went and talked to some people and because the doctor wouldn't treat me. Number one, I didn't have, I don't think we had health insurance. I don't think we did. And number two, the doctor wouldn't travel to me. They only treat somebody through their hospital. So I had to get there or he wasn't going to come to me. So there's a medicine woman. He said 2 miles down the road, there's a medicine woman. And I'm like, you have to go to her like now. I need something because I'm dying. So he did. He got the translator, very lovely lady, and went to her. And while he was gone is when I had my near-death experience. While he was gone, I was having a really hard time breathing the whole day. But while he was gone that night, like breathing for me was like, I kept telling him like, Paul, something's wrong. Like I'm taking breaths as deep as I could go, but but it's not getting to my shoulder, so there's no way it's getting to my brain. Okay, I knew this the whole day. I have chills everywhere. I kept telling him, like, Paul, I can't take a deep enough breath to get to my brain, and I know it. Like, I'm going to be brain dead, right? I can't breathe. I just can't do it, and I'm too weak. Like, all I wanted was watermelon, and there's no watermelon, okay? Not for days. No watermelon. They have mangoes, they have this, and I can't stomach anything. I just want, like, watermelon. Not even oranges by this point, right, guys? Just watermelon. My body just wasn't digesting anything else. It felt like it took so much to even, like, one grape or something. It was ridiculous. So I just didn't eat. And so he went. Like I said, I was pretty weak. He went with her, the translator, and they were gone for hours. It felt like an eternity. And I was so sick, and I was just, like, couldn't breathe. I had my little phone, which we brought no technology with us. I forgot to mention, no technology. And I had my little phone. My old iPhone, it wasn't even hooked up for years as a phone, but I kept it to take pictures. Okay, it was one of the first iPhones that ever came out, really. And I had all kinds of pictures on it and videos of Alex. So while he was gone, while he was gone, I watched videos of Alex because that little girl kept me alive, okay? See, I missed something. I missed a really big, important part. Can I stop there for a minute? Can I go back? Yeah, see, I haven't gone over this in a long time. When we, when we first got to the hotel in Tikal, I had a dream that night before we went to the towers, okay? I had a dream that, I had lots of dreams there, by the way. I looked through my dream journal there, it was insane, okay? So much symbolism, but the first night we were there, I had a dream that my mom, my aunt, and my dad's so I'll call her my stepmother for the sake of the story. So my mom, my aunt, not her other sister, my dad's girlfriend or fiance, whatever you want to call her. 3 of them were down by the water at our place, right past our balcony, and they were down by the water, and I was down talking to them. And then I said, hold on, I'll be right back. And I went back to our hotel room, and when I came back, none of them, I was sitting down to finish telling my story, and none of them could see me. None of them. They couldn't see me. Right? And I'm getting angry with them, hello, why aren't you stopping? Why are you hello, why do you keep talking? I waited my turn. Why? And I'm getting angry and they can't see me. And then I was like, what is going on? And then in my dream, Alex came and got me and said, Mom, come here. And I went back to my house here in Canada. And then she brought me back to Tikal in my dream, and then everybody could see me. All right? That's important because it's kind of prophetic, okay? So that was the dream I had a couple days before. 2, 3 days before this? 3, I think, maybe. Okay, they couldn't see me, and then all of a sudden they could see me. I remember telling Paul about this dream, going, this is the most bizarre thing. What do you mean they couldn't see me? And then all of a sudden they could. Okay, so fast forward back again a couple days. Paul's gone to the medicine lady, the herbalist, Maria. God rest her soul. She just passed away this past March, I believe, February, March. She seriously was an earth angel, I promise you. And she has a book if anybody's ever interested. I might be able to still get you a copy. She's brilliant, brilliant. So he went and got some herbs and stuff, some tree roots. So do you see why his big knife came in handy? If he didn't have that big knife, he wouldn't have been able to dig the tree roots that he actually needed to get to me really deep down. So while he was gone, though, I was having a hard time breathing, and I knew I already wasn't getting enough oxygen to my brain. And all of a sudden, it was like I thought I was dreaming. I thought I was dreaming, right? But I literally wasn't dreaming because I was touching myself, and I see over top of the bed, it's like the angel of life and death. Never thought it would look that way, so I didn't think, because I talk to guides and stuff, right? So I didn't really clue in that this is the angel of life and death. Okay, ladies. I'll see if I can still get a copy. I know they published it a few years ago, so I'll see if I can still get a copy. I have the one lady on my friends list, so I'll check with her. Anyways, so the 2 angels kind of appeared to me. And I was struggling. Like I said, my ribs from coughing, it hurt to breathe. Breathing felt like coughing really hard, right? So it wasn't so good. And, I was just in pain. And I'm like, let me out of this pain. That's all I kept thinking in my head over and over was like, get me out of this pain. Get me out of this pain, right? And I'm watching Alex on my phone and like, please help me out of this pain, get me out of this pain. And then all of a sudden these angels appear. I didn't realize it. I thought they were just some guys, and they're like, come this way, right? There's some light. Just go to the light. If you just go over here, your pain will be all gone. And I'm like, are you joking me? That's all I have to do is go through that, go there, and my pain's gone. Like, I can't breathe. Like, this is, I was like, wow, that's, let's do this. I'm ready, right? So I know everybody says yes before they go through. They don't realize, okay, guys, I have chills everywhere. I need to tell you this. You're faced with the light. Do not go to the light outside of you. It's the reincarnation loop, okay? You'll know this if you're at a higher level. I didn't get it. I almost went through. Some people do go through and then they come back. I did not go through. It was like, remember I told you before that Alex resonated with Anubis, okay? When she was little, said she's from the dog star, and she resonated with Anubis, and Anubis is the usher of the dead, okay? So then it's like all of a sudden I hear Alex like, Mom, ask questions. I'm ready to go in the light, guys. I'm like, ready to go, right? No, not asking questions. Nothing even feels funny because they want to take my pain away. And really, that's all I needed. And then I hear Alex, Mom, ask questions. You always ask questions. Ask why. So I was like, what? She's like, ask why. So I start asking questions and asking why will it take it away and why. And then I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I don't know what questions to ask, right? So I was like, oh, well, Alex came to me. Will I be able to see my daughter if I go here? And they're like, oh, of course you can see her. Of course. And I'm like, perfect. And I'm like, okay, can I hug her? Because I'm like, I don't know why Alex is telling me to ask questions, right? I'm like, can I hug my daughter again? Again, Oak isn't born yet. And they're like, of course you can hug her. And I'm like, why are they saying yes to everything? Where's the trick here, right? Why is she telling me to ask questions? So I'm like, can I talk to her? And they're like, of course you can talk to her. And I'm like, this doesn't seem so bad, right? Like, and then I'm like, well, can she hug me? And they were like, well, a little bit trickier, right? Kind of, hesitation. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, well, can she talk to me? And, you could tell there's some distortion there. There's some static. So I start asking more specific questions. And then it's like, and I'm like, well, the last question I remember asking them is like, will I still have my memories if I go with you? And they're like, no. And I was like, no way. Done. I have chills everywhere. Done. I'm not going with you. I've worked way too hard to get what little memories I have left. I worked way too hard. I will suffer through this. I will go through whatever pain I need to get through the other side, to get to that little girl that's on my phone. And I disappeared just like that. And I closed my eyes and hugged my phone and cried until Paul got back. And all I kept saying over and over again is, I choose life. I choose life. I choose life. Because it was me wishing to be out of pain, to find a way out, that enacted the program. Okay? I did it, and I almost went through just because I want to get rid of my pain. And I didn't ask questions. We're taught not to ask questions. Okay? We come in asking questions. We're taught not to ask questions. So anyways, little girl through my phone, I choose life, I choose life. Paul comes in and I'm crying and bawling, and I look at him and I'm like, I'm so hungry. And he's like, what are you talking? And I'm like, don't you smell the hot dogs? I want a hot dog so bad. And he was like, Tanya, we're in a jungle in South America. There's no hot dogs here. I'm like, Paul, there's hot dogs. Like, I want the hot dogs. Can't you smell them down by the fire? They're cooking hot dogs. I need them. And he's like, Tanya, there's no hot dogs. He's like, but I have some medicine for you. And he had 3 remedies for me. I have the pictures of the roots and the tree bark thing, different things he made remedies out of for me. And as soon as he came in, I asked him to bring me the garbage, because I knew, I don't know how in all that I knew, but I knew choosing life meant I quit smoking, something I put off since I knew from the time I was like 17 years old and pick up a cigarette that I was going to have to quit one day. Okay. And I was putting off the inevitable, and it was really silly because I could not do what I came here to do. Smoking cigarettes. That's why it was easier to take me out than to get me to quit smoking. I wasn't doing it. There was many times along the way, even when Paul was sick, I'd meditate. My guides would be like, you want to help him quit smoking? And I would avoid it and go, isn't there something else? They're like, of course there is. And they give me something else. I avoided it. So anyways, I asked him to bring me a garbage, and I had I didn't even tell you, I got like a carton of cigarettes plus 1 pack just in case, right? Just in case I ran out or wanted to share something, right? plus the open one I had to stop at the store to get the extra one. That's how like addicted I was, right? Even I had more, even though I knew I had more than I even needed, right? So I asked him to bring me garbage, and I got the carton of cigarettes. I asked him, and I opened every pack and broke every pack. Over $100, right? 120, 130, I don't know. I just broke them all. And thought even how silly that extra pack I got, because it wasn't even opened, right? I just broke them all, put them in the garbage, and I have never smoked a day since. All right, you guys don't have to come to life and death. You can make the little triads to, right? I never broke the addiction. My addiction now is helping people and inspiring people. Promise, just find a better addiction. I don't know how to get over addictions anyway other than that, because that feels like home to me. It feels good. I smoked because it helped me feel good. So at least I thought, right? That's the thing we tell ourselves. So I actually looked at something that wasn't limiting me. It only felt good because I was suppressing my emotions through it, right? So I had a whole emotional overflow for a lot of years after that. Actually, right after I broke the cigarettes, I asked Paul to sit down. I looked at him. I knew my heart was too heavy innately. I didn't know any of this Egypt stuff to the degree that I do. I didn't know the weighing of the heart ceremony. I wasn't familiar with any of this, okay? But I do know as soon as I was done breaking the cigarettes, right, I had to take an action, thought, feeling, action, right? I changed my feelings towards smoking. I was really happy to give it up if that meant I could cleanse and have my life. Okay, if that meant I could be home to see my little girl for Christmas that year, because I didn't think I would. I was begging Paul, like, can you send me on a boat, please, so that I can get home, please, because I don't know if I can make it home if you don't send me on a boat. So we went through the healing process, and sitting down after breaking the cigarettes, Paul, I told him to sit down in a chair, and I confessed things. Remember I told you me and Paul, we did the confession thing? Well, there, I knew my heart was too heavy. I knew I needed to be lighter in order to make it through this gate. That's what I call it, a gate I had to get through to be able to get home, right? 2012, December 21st, that was the gate. In order to get through there, I needed to be lighter. So I confessed things like really silly things. Like I took a piece of gum out of my mom's purse, like really silly things. Other things came up too, right? As I picked at the little silly things, other things came up about, being molested by a family member when I was young. Things like that came out that hadn't come out before because it was so just deep inside of there. So those were the things that I feel like confessing them allowed me to get home. So as you're going through health issues, make your heart lighter because it changes things. It changes your frequency, okay? It helps you get through things. All right, so I want to talk about that. Again, detoxing from cigarettes over years, guys, okay? I think it's been over 6 months. It's over 7 years now, right? Over 7 years. I don't get cravings anymore. Finally, I think that was about 5.5 years. Sometimes when good things would happen, I get a cigarette craving. It's like, that's ridiculous. Bad things would happen, for sure. People smoking around me never bothered me. Isn't that so weird? I'm never one of those smokers that's like, ugh. I'm not a judgy smoker that way because I know how hard it is. But I did detox a lot of emotional cleansing, a lot of, there's a Dave Matthews Band song that talks about like a devil in a church, with your head spinning around. I was like that for a few years because it was so deeply suppressed, all the stuff inside. But yeah, a lot of a lot of things. You have to go through the whole gambit of everything that was stuffed in there. Right? So I don't know if any of you smoke cigarettes, have any other addictions, but you have to move through it. How did I do it? Every one of those addictions is in my website. That's what I did. Every time I got an addiction, talk about universal laws, talk about this. Anything that helped me grow, I knew I had to put it out there for the world. I'm kind of at that place right now. Anything since that point of me putting out the universal laws and hermetic principles on my website, anything that now has helped me grow and get me to this point now from 2012, I'm sharing with all of you because it's that point again. All right. It's a rebirthing point for me. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that story. That's why I feel like going through, it was a huge dark night of the soul because I wasn't willing to take the ego death. That, living in Ma'at and making this a lifelong practice, living there, you would never have an experience like that. Okay? So I guess that's the gist of my story. I know I missed lots of things, but I think that's the most important stuff. I ended up making it home. We delayed a couple flights. Delayed a couple flights, which was no problem. Made it home for Christmas Eve. I don't like the cold. Claim I don't like Canada. I loved Canada when I got back. I literally kissed the ground. And I came in the house and I cried and bawled and went upstairs. And all I did was hug my little girl. And literally, that's what I want to tell you, Anubis. Remember that dream I said that I had about Alex, me going and talking to my mom, no one could see me? Because I was dead. I was dead, okay? In my dream, I knew. I was like foreshadowing my death. Alex came, took me, and then all of a sudden, they could see me again. Same thing in my near-death experience. Anubis, she was like, Mom, ask more questions. I asked questions, okay? I was able to come back to see her. So she's my little angel. She's my little guide. She's got me through many times. You guys all have yours as well. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. I've had a lot to say.